Hello, 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 everybody.
Hey, what up, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? We are.
The pages speak.
Yeah.
And we have a show for you. Before I get started, I want to encourage everybody. Listen, take a minute. You know what I'm doing right now? I'm going to share.
Right.
Share,
Come on,
share, share,
somebody.
share, 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 and share some more. Now, listen, on today's show, you need to get your pen, you need to get your paper, because you're going to hear some information and there's some things that you need to see. Grace and peace to you also, William Calamese. I like that. Grace
What's
and
up,
peace
big
to William
fella?
Calamese.
Big fella, the big fella standing united right now.
So listen, take a minute, go right now. Get your pens, get your papers, because some information you do not want to miss. On tonight's show, we are going to be talking about common mistakes in our finances that we make, that we need to really improve on. And before I go into that, because I don't want to interrupt once we get going.
Come on, man.
I don't want to interrupt. So, if you have not purchased my book, Gracefully Losing My Religion, Journey to Love Without Limits, you need to get this book. Get the book. Now, you can order it on Amazon, or you can inbox and get a signed hard copy. The hard copies are only available from me or at 16300 Harper Avenue at Empower King Life Ministries. Okay, got that out the way. Now, tonight, we have the wonderful, the dynamic, the brilliant,
the host, the one with the mostesses.
Yeah, this is my spiritual daughter who I love dearly. And it's so wonderful to have her on tonight to give you all some wisdom. She's been on before, helping us with all kinds of tips for our business and for credit. And she's with us again tonight to talk about financial mistakes, common financial mistakes that we all make. So I want you guys to just be excited as we are to have Samantha Davis.
Woo!
Yay!
Hello.
It is so awesome to have this woman on. She is a woman of God. She's a mother. And she loves God and she follows his instructions, and everything she's going to give to you are things that she's studied as well as tips that God has given her in order to help us get on track with our finances. So, if anybody watches the show, I love to talk. I do. I love to talk. Especially if I'm passionate about some stuff, I will talk. But tonight, I'm going to be taking notes. I got my pen. I got my paper, and I'm going to be taking notes because the pages speak. This time goes by really, really quickly. So share, tag some people, share the information, put some people in the comments because everybody needs the information that we're going to give on this evening. All of us have things we want to do. All of us have goals. And in order to meet those goals, we got to get our finances together. And one of the main things we got to do, we got to break some old habits. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And unfortunately, many of us have some habits in regards to our finances that are not good and they're not giving good results. So that means we need to do what? Change them.
Yeah, if you live in an apartment and you got a Benz, you need to be on here tonight. You need to if you eating noodles, you driving a Benz right now, and you're in an apartment eating noodles and hot dogs because you trying to pay that high car note. Maybe you need to listen tonight.
Maybe, just maybe.
Tonight.
Just maybe.
We plead the blood over that curse. The Benz curse.
Oh, Lord. So, right now, without further ado, I got my pen, I got my paper. We're going to let Samantha Davis kick some information with y'all. Come on, Miss Samantha Davis. Kick it.
Okay. Well, what God has been showing me some common mistakes that people make, even in myself. He always teaches me before he, allow me to teach others. One of those things is like overspending. a lot of time we will overspend either trying to keep up with the Joneses. So we will, just swipe our card and, if we see somebody with a nice car, we're going to go buy a nice car because that person got a nice car. We like compare ourselves. So we rush for the wealth. So like when we get the money, we rush for those things, for those wealthy things. So that's one thing that, God was showing me is overspending. And the next thing is we like, people don't budget. So when they get their check, they don't budget to see how can I make this amount, this $300 or $800 that I have stretch me all the way until I get paid again. Instead, they will spend the whole $800 check in like 2 days, and then they don't save anything from it. So that's another one. I said I had 5, but I had like 6. So another thing, like, and they don't save anything from the check. So they don't even think about saving. They just like, well, if I have it, so I have it to spend it. The next thing is they do not invest in their money. So I believe investing is very, very important, especially because we're coming into a entrepreneur generation where people are no longer wanting to work for people. They're wanting to be their own business owner. But you have to think, when you become your own business owner, you have to think about retirement. So when you become your business owner, what are you doing to start putting money up for retirement? Do you think, oh, well, I'm just going to be a millionaire and then I'm going to retire when I become a millionaire? That's the wrong way of thinking. You want to invest in something where it's making money for you, where you don't have to keep working once you become a millionaire to stay a millionaire. So you want to, and some of the investments that you can make, you can put your money into is like the stock market, a 401k, a Roth IRA. These are things that you can invest in that where it's making money for you and you don't have to do anything for it. Like, for example, I'll go ahead.
Just a quick question, because it used to be back in the day that's what people use banks for. Like they would save and then their monies would accrue interest. But nowadays, it seems like banks don't give you interest on your money that they're using. So, do you think that people should keep it in the bank, or should they, instead of just leaving it in the savings account, that they need to move it into something that accrues more interest?
And that's what I was about to say. That's what I was just about to get into. It's like when people like, well, I have a savings account. I do save. I have a savings account. Yeah, you have a savings account, but all you're doing is it ain't making nothing. It's not, and then it's not really even when you have this money in the account, when you have your money in a savings account, you end up going into that money because it's emergency money or your savings, right? And then and then now you don't, then to eventually like God forbid you have to use all of your savings because of something that happened that you needed that exact amount that was in your savings. But imagine if you would have had that into an investment account, and then it built at the compound interest, that if you put say if you invest in the stock market and you put $25 in there, and then all of a sudden you look up, you at $100, and it's your savings. You're pouring into this as a savings account. And with this, when you're doing it in the stock market, because I invest in the stock market, and literally I only put $25 in there, and I'm like almost at $400. And I literally, that's like my savings account. I'm like, okay, because I'm an entrepreneur, I have to invest in myself and into my future. So that means, I got to start planning for the future. I can't just be like YOLO just for today. No, I have to, okay, I want to retire. I don't want to have to keep working where, if God forbid something happened, I have to go on my savings account and I got to use everything, and then I didn't have nothing to build on that. Like I didn't have anything, like, what I'm saying? Like you want something to build on what you're saving on. You don't want to have, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because a lot of times, just like what you said, if the money is there and something comes up, if it's easy accessible, they're going to access it and they're going to spend it. Whereas if it's in an IRA or if it's in a CD that you can't really access as easily, you're more apt to like either do without or make a sacrifice or do something else because you don't necessarily count that money as money that you can access. And it's actually somewhere else accruing interest. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. And then the next thing is, people don't sow. So I talked about this today, where, people don't give. And when it comes to God, and, a lot of people say like, or, they have their different beliefs, laws of attraction and all that, but God's principles stay the same. If you give, you reap. So if you give more, you will reap more. So a lot of times people say, well, I don't have to give, but you don't, that's why you don't have it enough. No, you only have just enough. You don't have extra to give because you don't give to have an increase. So a lot of times, like people don't sow into, like, they don't like to give to charity. That's the last thing on their mind. They don't like to give to a ministry. That's the last thing on their mind. They don't want to help the homeless. That's like the last thing on their mind. Because they're like, well, I need the help. They try to say, oh, I need the help. And it's like God don't want us to have that mindset. He wants us to sow, and He's going to bring the increase. So a lot of times, a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck and they just get by, just getting by. That's it. And not having extra is because they don't sow extra. They don't sow anything to bring in anything extra. If that makes sense.
So like for people, it's poor management because in order to invest, you got to learn how to manage what you have in order to have some things to be able to create growth or be able to create financial I would like to say financial freedom. I want to be financially free.
Yes.
Where when I do ministry, I don't have to worry about my nights getting cut off. I don't have to worry about my Cadillac Escalade not having no gas. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to worry about sitting up in the corner rocking, having a candle on, eating hot dogs with no bread. So
you said a hot dog with no bread.
Right. What is the purpose? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Condiments to put on it. Poor management. And
Yes.
God warned us even in the Bible about the talents. Some had 5, some had 3, and the other one had 1, right? I believe that's how it go. And the one took the other ones they doubled. 5 and 3 doubled. They invested.
And that's what I was going to get at. Yes.
And they created double of what they had. And then the one they called the wicked servant, he took it and stuck it in the ground and didn't do nothing with it.
Yes.
And I want to go back to another point you said, even in regards to budgeting. Now, with budgeting, do you believe that we should even budget to give? Should your giving be included in your budgeting? Because most people, when they budget, they only budget their bills. Right. And then after they pay all their bills, then if there's anything left over, they'll give out of that. But do you believe that you should budget what you sow even?
I believe they have the triangle upside down. And that's why they're in their situation. And that's including myself because I had to learn that, like, to give first before I even pay myself, because that's what the millionaires do. That's what the billionaires, if you want to be a millionaire, if you want to become a millionaire or a billionaire, you have to think like one. And what do? As soon as they get paid, what do? They give to the charities. It's some billionaires who actually sign off on like where they sign off that they give half their wealth to the charities because they know that they're going to reap more. They know if I give this, it's law. It's God has to go by His law. It's principles. So it's just like if I give this, I'm going to receive an increase. So I can give them half my riches. Guess what? I'm going to get double the amount back. So it's no problem for them to do that because it's overflowing. God is just continue to overflow them.
Okay. So it's so with the budgeting, so you should budget your giving. Now, this is the other question. Should you budget also savings? Because a lot of people don't, like I said, they again, the debt, the bill, but they don't necessarily budget the savings. Should that also be part of your budgeting?
Yes, I believe that you should at least, if you're not making that much, at least take 10% out of your checks and just put it to the side, or put it into a Roth IRA where you can't touch it, or put it in the stock market, or just have wherever you're working. If you're working, or if you're an employee, you could just have your job to just automatically withdraw money out of your checks and just put it in an account where you can't even see it. You don't even know it's missing. You would just think this is what I got paid, and then you can go ahead and just, okay, let me give 10% or let me give whatever I can out this check to, the homeless or to a ministry or to a charity. I'm letting God know I'm sowing to this, but don't just sow to anything. You gotta pray. You gotta ask God, what should I sow into?
Come on now. That's
You know,
good.
you want to know what to sow into. Like, gosh, okay, you want me to sow in here? This is where you want me to sow here in Africa. This is where you want me to send all my seeds to. Oh, okay, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna keep sowing until I see the increase. So, but that, you know, we have to, you know, like you said, we have to budget. We have to learn how to, because that's just principle. It's just like, if you want to be financial free, you have to learn this. You have to be a good steward over it, because God is not going to give you a whole lot if you can't manage a little.
Come on now.
You know, you got to be able to manage a little before he say, I can trust you with a lot. But then we get mad when God don't give us a lot. But he's like, well, he's looking like, well, how did you handle that little $100 I just gave you? You didn't even give, you know, you didn't give me $10 out of it. You just, that $100 is just, it's gone already. And you went, you just went and bought a bunch of drinks and chips and pop and didn't do nothing. It didn't even feed your spirit. It didn't even feed it did more damage to you. So imagine if I give you 100,000, how much damage would 100,000 do to you? You know, and so it's just like, guys, like, I want to see if you will be a good steward over something little. Would you invest in my kingdom with this, or would you just be selfish and it's all about me, 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 me? I want to invest in me, 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 me.
So it's about really transforming your mind.
Yes.
Yes. Your mind. We need to renew our minds and how we do it. I'm gonna tell you, I am a consummate spender. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a big fella. And you know, I try to keep up with the Joneses. Come on now, I ain't gonna lie to you. I be trying to keep up with the little tiny people, let them know that. The little tiny people, they be looking all nice in their clothes, and the big fellas, you know what I'm saying, be left out. You know what I'm saying?
I would say, okay, go ahead.
Now, would you also advise people? Let's say they're working, like yours, because you mentioned before about jobs that have saving programs. So many jobs do matching. They do match your savings. So do you think that if you have that benefit at your job, that you should like take the maximum that they're going to match?
Yes. Okay. I believe you should definitely take the max, because you will see it, your savings will build up faster.
Yes.
So yes, I would definitely say yes, do the max if you're going to be doing that. Yes.
And there's another mistake, there's another mistake that people make a lot of times when they leave a job that has that kind of 401k program, that they'll have an option of either rolling it over or taking it out. And I see a lot of people who would take it out and either spend it or take it out and just put it in the bank. Would you say that that's not wise and that they need to roll it over into a CD or another sort of saving situation, or even have a financial advisor to invest it?
I would say if they're going to take it out, put it in another investment account. Especially if you're going to quit a job, you're not going to go back to a job. Say if you're just quit a job and you say, I'm about to just become a full-time entrepreneur. So I'm going to take this money, I'm going to take my 401k, I'm going to cash it out. But then take that and just go ahead and put it into an investment account, another investment account. Whether that's in because it's people that invest in other people. You understand what I'm saying? So even if you're investing into, you want to use that money to basically build upon that money. You don't want to just take it and then spend it on something that you're not going to see, that you're not going to see an investment out of it. It becomes a liability. It's not an asset.
Exactly. Now, Robinson Celeste, Celeste Robinson, who's actually going to be on our show next week. Love her to pieces. She on Apostle Joe's side talking about, when you're tall, you got to spend more on your clothes.
Come on, man. I got to. You know what I'm saying? To keep
all
up
right.
with the Jones.
You should see his wardrobe. Y'all have no idea. Anyway, but she also said roll it over into a Roth IRA. So would you say that that's a good idea to roll it into? Yes.
That's a good idea. That's like another retirement plan. So yes, that's another Roth IRA. That's what I was speaking about. That was an investment account.
Yes.
So we got to be creative with how we handle our money. We need to look for investments and look for ways to double it. Taking you some 10-cent bottles and put them in a bag and then cash them and keep on doing
10-cent bottles of money.
That's money. Come on,
Larry Berry.
So I didn't go.
You have to do to take it out. maybe even penalties if you don't roll it. So just did this week. Yeah, if you don't roll it over, there are penalties that you have to pay. You
That's
lose
true.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and then you also have to pay taxes on it as well.
Yes.
So yeah, so I was gonna say like, cause if you take it out too soon, you have to pay taxes on it.
Yes.
But the last thing I was gonna talk about is they don't keep track of their finances.
Wow.
So it's like you're scared to look at your bank statement or to see where your money is going because you know you're being a bad steward over your wealth.
Right.
So it's like a fear, like oh, I'm not even gonna check my account, but I'm gonna keep swiping until this card say declined. And that's a huge mistake that a lot of people do. And it's a poverty mindset and they think it's okay. And they keep doing it and keep doing it. And like, well, I'm gonna just keep swiping until the card decline. Or then if that card decline, I'm going to go to my credit cards. And then that's how they get in more debt. So that right there is like, you have to budget. You have to know, like, or not even budget, I'm saying keep track of it. You have to be looking at your bank statement and you want to see like, where's my money going? Is it going on a lot of fast food? Okay, I need to start cutting out fast food. Like this month, I gotta go grocery shopping. And yeah, if I got goals and I'm trying to meet, hey, I might have to eat on bread and lunch meat this week for a whole 7 days so I can meet my goal for next week on what I'm trying to do with my wealth, with my money. So yeah, so I will say like yeah, like you want to track your money, see where your money is going, like especially if you never know, you might be getting double charged for things, but you're not checking for it. So now you're losing more money and not even knowing it.
Can I say something? Swiper, no swiping. Okay.
Okay, something else. When you mentioned that, there's something else I think is a common mistake people sometimes make. Sometimes people sign up for like subscriptions for things that money comes out automatically and they don't cancel them.
Hmm.
So would you say that it's a wise thing to look and see and even analyze like with their subscriptions, if they're using it on a regular basis, or if it's something that they really can just be done with and they need to cancel those subscriptions that they're not really utilizing because that's just money that's just going into the wind. I know I done that. I was like, what is this? What is this coming out of my bank account?
Yeah.
I had to learn how to cancel.
Yeah, it's a lot of times
Yeah.
it's in a small print having to figure out how to cancel all that stuff. And because it's still money that's just, steady coming out, steady coming out, steady coming out.
Yes.
And you look at your bank account is steady dwindling. Yeah, so you need to cancel. It says, yes, you can get your money back. So it's a good thing, like cancel those unnecessary subscriptions.
Yes, I would say you definitely want to. That's just keeping track of your finances. That's fall all
Yes.
into the same category. You want to look over, okay, what's coming out. So if that especially when you are in debt and you were trying to get out of debt, you need to be going over your bank statement and say, okay, what do I have to remove so I can get out of debt quicker? And then what the money that was getting taken out for those subscriptions or for things that you were paying for unnecessary. Now you want to take that money and now you want to throw it at your debt. Now you want to use and instead of spending unnecessary money on those things, now you're going to take that money and be like, okay, now I'm going to use this so I can get out of debt faster. And then I got to cut out some things like fast food. I'm guilty of that. I spend a lot of money on fast food because it's so quick, it's so easy, and so that also too keeps you in poverty because when you're just spending on things that it's not, you don't have to. You can go to the market and get some things that can stretch you for 2 weeks until your paycheck come again. But instead you use that 2-week paycheck and you just spend it every day on fast food. Every day. And it's like $30-$40 because it's going up. And now you look up and now, you're barely making it for the next 7 days.
It's like, even with the mindset, and this is something I was guilty of, when I was making less money, and again, so you had to spend less and you had to plan out your groceries and you had to go grocery shopping because, listen, I only have this much to work with. And then when my money's doubled, I'm like, oh, I don't have to go through all that anymore. I can just do what I want to do. Woo, free, free, free. And you look up and now you're living paycheck to paycheck. And it's like, I need to go back to the mindset that I had when my paycheck was half of what it was. Because had I gone to the mindset when my monies were half, then half of my paycheck I would have been able to save.
Yes.
But
on.
instead,
Yes.
when you make more money, we tend to spend more
Spend
money.
more money.
And the thing
Yes.
is, that's the wrong kind of attitude to make. When you make more money, save more money.
Okay, come on now.
Yes.
We gotta
Yes. That's the key. That's
Yeah.
the key. Save
So,
more and invest more. You want to
yes.
save
Yeah.
and invest
So
because
this
that's
is
how. Go ahead.
okay, another question I had because you were talking about paying down your debt. Now,
Hmm.
should you wait to save or wait to invest until you pay down your debt?
So this some people might argue with me on this, but me personally, I would want to pay off my debt first before I start saving, because you're saving to still having to use debt, because you're going to go on your savings account all the time because you're like, well, I got this bill still because I'm in debt. I don't have extra to pay on because you're throwing everything you have on your debt. So how are you saving if you're you're going to have to continue to keep going into your savings account because you're trying not to drown. So you're like, I gotta catch up still, but yeah, I'm saving. That, you get what I'm saying? So I think it's better to take everything you have to try to throw it at your debt to pay it off. So when you get out of debt, you can be, you're gonna feel good, and you're gonna be like, I can start from square one, and now I can save and be able to budget and be able to, like, okay, this is gonna go in my savings account. This is going here. This is gonna go here, and then that's how you're gonna build that off. Build off of. That's my but some people don't think that way, but that's my way of thinking.
Okay. And that makes a lot of sense to pay off the debt because the longer you pay your debt, it's like the interest that you would be paying yourself in savings, you're paying to the debt collectors in interest. So it's best to pay off the debt, and the quicker you pay it off, and the less interest you're paying, and you're paying less money toward in your debts. Because if you don't pay them off, then you're going to accrue more interest.
Yes.
And would you also say that even if it's paying off debt, um, sometimes you have low interest credit cards and then you have high interest credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
So in paying those off, because like I said, just some tips. So do you think that maybe you should pay more towards the high interest credit cards and then pay the minimum to those that have little to no debt until you can then pay off the high interest and then go ahead and finish paying off the lower interest cards?
So so I would say, this is what I would say. I believe, this is my opinion. This,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you my advice on this. Say if you had a credit card and it was the limit was $500, and then you had another credit card and the limit was $1,000. You had a 20% interest rate, like on the thousand um interest rate on the 1,000 credit card, but then you had a 23% interest rate on the 500. I would still say attack the 500 one first, because the only reason why I say this is because you're gonna be able to pay it off faster than to try to pay that $1,000 one off, and it's gonna kind of discourage you, like, oh, it just don't feel like I'm doing it, but when you pay that $500 one off, you're gonna get, oh, I can do this, it's
Yeah.
gonna kind of ump you to, like, I can pay my debt off, I did it, I got a breather. That 500 is no more interest, and it's all paid. Now I just got that 1,000.
Okay.
So I think it's smarter to attack the smaller debt and then work up to the larger debt,
Okay.
because it gives you that momentum.
Okay, because there are some credit cards out there. Like I said, even if you have 500, you do have some credit cards. Let's say it only has a 3% interest rate, but then you have a $500 card that has a 25% interest rate. Would you say, okay, let me take this $500 debt and pay it off with the $1,000, or like roll it over into the $1,000 debt, and then because then I'm only paying 3% interest, or sometimes you'll have 0% interest for a year, and that way it's not accruing more interest, and still one of the cards is paid off, and you still have the other one that you're paying on.
Yes, I feel like that's a smart way to do it. But, like,
Mhm.
I say this again. Um, it depends if you can even roll. If you and both of the cards are maxed out,
Mhm.
then you won't be able to roll it over, because
Gotcha.
you're struggling trying to pay a 500 and a 1,000.
Mhm.
So it's like I feel like it'll be easier for you to pay the 500 off first, to give you the momentum, to give you the like, I can do it, than to try to tackle that 1,000 and it feel like it's taking you forever. Like both interest is hitting you like crazy because you still got to pay the minimum on the 500 and then you still got to pay the interest on the 1,000. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just like they both hitting you with the interest, no matter if it's whatever is low or higher, but just to attack the smaller debt to get it over with and then start on the next. It builds the momentum of like, I can do it. One is out the way. The next one's out the way. Instead of trying to work your way up doing the larger one, it's gonna feel like you're it's like say you had 16,000 and that was 3% on a credit card as the interest rate, and then you got a $500 one and it has 20%. No, I'm gonna still pay that $500 one off because it's gonna take me forever to pay the 16,000 off, and they got a 3% interest rate. Yes. You know, so it relieves you from stress because it's in our mind. Like it relieves you from stress. Like I don't have two cars I'm paying for it. Like I don't, you know, and then you have to think of it again too. If I merge my credit cards, my debt together, then I'm going to get a different interest rate. Because then I you know, whatever lender I'm going to have them merge it together, they're going to give me their interest rate. So then I got to think of that. I got to be like, okay, so do I want to do that, or do I just want to pay this $500 off and just go ahead and work on this 3%?
Yes. So I hear what you said. It's like psyching your mind. Yeah, just like Celeste said, absolutely. Motivation and momentum is key. Whenever you make an accomplishment, it motivates you to do more. So when you pay off that $500, it'll motivate you to want to even do more. This is now done. It's like I can accomplish something. It's finished. Yay! I can celebrate that's done before I go on to the next. So that's good. Pay off the smaller debt so that you get momentum to keep going to finish paying off the rest of the debt. Because again, debt steals from your savings, it steals from your ability to invest, it steals from your future. So get out of debt first.
Yes.
So that's something else good. So overspending. So again, you're talking about let's be disciplined. If you don't need it, how about don't get it? You know, you mentioned eating out a lot when we actually can cook and plan out our meals. Budgeting, and again, budgeting in all areas, be it food, be it clothing. Because I know, like Apostle Joe said, he likes to sometimes, you know, get clothes because he's tall. But if we don't need it, you know,
amen.
We have to learn how to recycle and restyle.
Discipline.
Yeah. Shaking and convulsing because you got to spend something.
Well, let me tell you, I'm the accessory queen. I'll take a dress that I've had 20 years and go buy a $3 necklace and turn it into a whole new outfit. I'm accessory.
Wow.
Accessorized.
Wow.
Accessorized. Okay. But and that is a tip for finances. That's a tip right there. Instead of buying a whole new outfit, keep that same piece and accessorize it. Make it look different. A scarf can change it. A piece of jewelry can change it. But that's just me throwing something out there. Okay. So overspending, watch your spending, budgeting.
Yeah.
Sowing and reaping. It's a law. And it's true. It's how God operates. Invest and keep up with your finances, with your spending. Start looking at those banks. Stop running away from your bank statements. How many of y'all got bank statements that you didn't even open? They just stacked up over there to the side. You ain't even looked at it. You ain't opened it from a month, 2 months, 3 months ago. You ain't even looked at the bank statement. I had no idea what's in there. You stay swiping.
You just come to the mailman when you come. Like, get out the truck. He's like a tax collector or a bill collector. He's like, oh, he seen me.
This has been so awesome.
It's really good.
These are some simple tips, and that anybody can do. Any of us can do.
Yeah.
You know, it requires some disciplining. Tell yourself no. Ask yourself, do you really need it?
Practice. In practice.
And again, cooking. Cooking is very important.
Yeah.
And if you don't cook, buy something that's quick that you know you may not have to cook. You know, some soup, some sandwiches. People I used to always keep ramen noodles. It's like, we ain't going to McDonald's, better go get the noodles. Anyway, so, yeah, not too much sodium, but just something quick. Peanut butter and jelly. My son to this day loves peanut butter and jelly. It's been you better go make you
Wow.
peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Anyway,
Man,
get you a glass of milk. But it'll help to keep your
life is
budget.
so
So,
different. No,
but this has been awesome, Samantha. So, tell us a little more. So, you have a group, Attaining Wealth God's Way. Tell us about that.
Okay, so God has put it on my heart to start this group. It's called, He named it Obtaining Wealth God's Way. And the reason why He had me create this group is because He has seen the frustration of His people, of His people of trying to toil for wealth, um, trying to do it their way, trying to get rich quick, trying to be a generational of like a microwave generation. Like they thinking that, okay, well, God, I'm gonna start this business, and then tomorrow I'm gonna wake up rich, and I'm gonna have this because I believe in you, and you with me, and I'm with you, and we're gonna do, And God's like, no, that's not the way to do it. And He's like, He's noticing that His people they have idols of money in their heart, and He wants to show them this, like so they can repent and to remove the idol and be able to focus on Him and let Him order their steps, and let Him show them how to get wealth. But wealth is not just finances. He's talking about wealth like as in abundance, where you can get joy while you like you can have joy while you're going through the process of obtaining what God has for you, while you can have peace, while you like God is trying to show His people that it's more than just fighting to just become rich, and He has more than just He wants you to enjoy the wealth, the money, all of that, but it He don't want that to be your main goal.
Yeah.
So God is trying to transform His people mind from a poverty mindset into a kingdom mindset.
So, with the group Obtaining Wealth God's Way, because I know it is a private group. So,
Yes.
how do people request to join? Do they just request to join?
Yep, they just hit invite, and then all the people that's in the group, they have the right to just approve anyone. So once you become a member and you invite people, you have the right to approve them to enter the group. So really, it's just a community that God wanted me to create, so we can encourage, uplift, motivate, and pour it back into each other. Pour
Awesome.
into yeah.
Awesome. So with that group, the Obtaining Wealth God's Way, I can tell you, they've been fasting. We've been fasting. We've been praying and encouraging and receiving words from Samantha daily in regards to some other tips on how to obtain wealth God's way. Also, business credit, Davis Credit Repair. Can help you to even get those things together so that you can be wise in your dealings with your debt. And but even more so, dealing with your money is the way God would have you to. So it's just been so absolutely awesome. The page of speaking goes by so fast. We are completely out of time. So we're gonna have to have you on again. We're just gonna start doing quarterly sessions with you. You just come on and just tell us stuff to do. Anyway, so next week, y'all. Oh gosh. Thank you for joining next Thursday at 9 p.m. Whew, it's gonna be a heavy show. We're gonna be talking about the weaponization of music. How music has been weaponized. And we will be having Celeste Robinson and Dwayne Bradford. This is a show you do not want to miss. And if you missed last week's show, we were talking about the words of Malcolm X. If he was right, you need to go back and catch that. Subscribe to our YouTube. We have a lot of really, really great shows on there. A lot of information that will bless you, that will help you, and also just get you thinking. Because we speak about some of everything. Nothing's off limits because we ain't scared of nothing. So next week, the weaponization of music. Whew, come on now. So join us next week on Thursday at 9 p.m. And until then, you know who this is?
Jonathan Lee Page. Oh.
And I'm Stephanie Page. We're the Pages Speak. Until next time. Oh, and this is
Samantha Davis.
Samantha Davis, Obtaining Wealth God's Way. Listen, you need to go join it. And when and listen, I'm not just saying this because she's my spiritual daughter, but this baby can preach, honey. So you need to go see as she preaches, as she teaches, as she Woo, she
voice
be
to the
ministering. She's keep an eye out for her. I'm
It's a
telling y'all,
voice to
keep
the
an eye out for
nations.
keep an eye out for
Come
her.
on now.
I'm just letting you know. Okay, but until next week, we'll see you later. I'm Stephanie. This is Joe. We're the
Boom.
Great to Speak. We love you and
Great to
bye bye.